Before machines, before modern math, humans were already building the impossible. Across deserts, mountains and jungles, ancient civilizations created structures of astonishing complexity aligned to the stars, carved from solid rock and engineered to survive earthquakes, floods and time itself. These are the 10 most complex ancient constructions. High above Athens, carved into a limestone hill, stands the Acropolis. Built in the 5th century BCE during Athens' Golden Age, the Acropolis was not designed as a single building, but as a carefully planned architectural system combining engineering, art, religion and political power. The site itself was a challenge. The hill was steep, uneven and exposed to earthquakes and wind. Instead of flattening it, Greek engineers reshaped the bedrock and built massive retaining walls, adapting each structure to the natural terrain. At the centre stands the Parthenon, often called the most perfect building ever made, but its perfection is an illusion. The columns subtly bulge, the floor curves upward, and no line is truly straight. These refinements correct visual distortions, making the temple appear perfectly balanced to the human eye. Achieving this required advanced mathematics and extraordinary precision, using only hand tools. The Acropolis was built almost entirely from Pentelic marble, quarried over 16 kilometers or 10 miles away. Every block was cut by hand, transported uphill, and lifted into place with cranes and pulleys. More than stone, the Acropolis was an idea. Architecture, sculpture and storytelling worked together to express Athenian identity and power. Over 2,400 years later, it remains a masterpiece, not because it is massive, but because every detail was intentional. Rising above the Gardon River in southern France stands the Pont du Gard, one of the most extraordinary engineering achievements of the ancient world. Built in the 1st century CE by Roman engineers, the Pont du Gard was not a monument. It was infrastructure. Part of a 50-kilometre aqueduct system, it carried fresh water to the city of Nîmes every single day. The aqueduct slopes just 34 centimetres per kilometre, a nearly invisible gradient that had to be maintained over long distances without modern surveying tools. A single error would have stopped the water entirely. The Pont du Gard itself rises nearly 49 metres high, making it the tallest Roman aqueduct bridge ever built. It is composed of 3 tiers of arches, carefully balanced, so weight flows downward and outward, distributing stress evenly across the structure. The bridge uses massive limestone blocks, some weighing over 6 tons, fitted together without mortar. Iron clamps and gravity alone hold the structure in place. Temporary wooden scaffolding and cranes, powered by human labour, lifted stones into position with astonishing accuracy. Roman engineers also had to confront nature. The Garden River floods violently, yet the wide arches allow water to pass through with minimal resistance, protecting the bridge for nearly 2,000 years. The water channel at the top was sealed with waterproof Roman concrete, ensuring clean, uninterrupted flow. Today, the Pont du Gard still stands, proof that ancient engineering wasn't just advanced, it was enduring. In the Bekaa Valley of modern Lebanon stands Baalbek, home to some of the largest stone blocks ever used in human construction. Built and expanded primarily during the Roman Empire, Baalbek was not just a religious site, it was an engineering challenge taken to the extreme. At the heart of the complex stands the Temple of Jupiter, once the largest Roman temple ever built. Its foundation rests on the trilithon, 3 limestone blocks weighing up to 800 tons each, precisely cut and placed side by side. Nearby, in the ancient quarry, lies an even larger stone, the stone of the pregnant woman, weighing over 1,000 tons. These are among the heaviest stones ever moved by human hands, and yet they were transported, lifted, and set with astonishing accuracy, without modern machinery. The scale of coordination alone, labour, tools, timing and terrain, makes Baalbek one of the most complex construction projects of antiquity. It combines 2 extremes: megalithic engineering and classical architectural precision in a single unified design. Despite earthquakes, invasions and centuries of reuse, much of Baalbek still stands. Hidden within the desert canyons of southern Jordan lies Petra, one of the most complex and ingenious cities of the ancient world. Built by the Nabateans over 2,000 years ago, Petra was not constructed in the traditional sense. It was carved directly into rock. Entire temples, tombs and facades were shaped from sheer sandstone cliffs, demanding extraordinary planning and precision. Petra stood at the crossroads of major trade routes, yet it existed in one of the driest environments on Earth. To solve this, Nabatean engineers created an advanced water management system. Dams, channels, cisterns and ceramic pipelines that captured flash floods and seasonal rain, storing water year-round. The famous treasury, carved top-down to prevent collapse, shows how builders planned every cut in advance. Petra is also a cultural fusion. Its architecture blends Nabatean, Greek, Roman and Near Eastern styles, proof of a city shaped by commerce as much as by belief. The city is complex not because it is massive, but because it is intelligent. Just outside modern Mexico City lies Teotihuacan, one of the largest cities ever built in the ancient world. Founded around 100 BCE, Teotihuacan was not a single monument. It was a carefully planned metropolis, covering over 20 square kilometers or 8 square miles, and housing more than 100,000 people at its peak. The city was built on a strict grid, oriented about 15.5 degrees east of north, likely aligned with astronomical events and sacred geography. This alignment guided every street, temple and plaza, turning the entire city into a symbolic map of the universe. At its center runs the Avenue of the Dead, a monumental axis stretching more than 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles. Along it rise the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon, among the largest pyramids ever constructed in the Americas. The Pyramid of the Sun alone contains over 1 million cubic meters of material. Built without metal tools, draft animals or wheeled transport, its construction required massive coordination, standardized labor and long-term planning. The city featured multi-family apartment compounds, stone-built residences with drainage systems, murals and communal courtyards. Despite its size, no known rulers' names survive. Power was embedded in institutions, planning and ideology, rather than a single king. Long after its fall, Teotihuacan shaped the civilizations that followed, and its builders remain as mysterious as the city they created. Hidden within a horseshoe-shaped cliff in western India lie the Ajanta Caves, one of the most ambitious construction projects of the ancient world. Created between the 2nd century BCE and the 5th century CE, the Ajanta Caves are not buildings assembled from stone. They are entire monasteries carved directly into solid rock. There are 30 caves in total, including prayer halls, monasteries, living quarters, and assembly spaces. Each cave was excavated from the cliff face inward, requiring absolute precision. Unlike freestanding structures, rock-cut architecture offers no room for correction. Builders had to visualize the entire space in advance, columns, ceilings, sculptures, and doorways before the first cut was made. The caves follow a strict architectural logic. Chaitya halls feature vaulted ceilings and stupas for worship, while vihara caves served as monastic residences, complete with cells, pillars, and courtyards. All were carved using simple hand tools. The walls are covered with some of the world's earliest surviving Buddhist murals, depicting stories of the Buddha's past lives. These paintings required carefully prepared surfaces, controlled lighting, and mineral pigments that have survived for over 1,500 years. Rising from the volcanic plains of central Java stands Borobudur. Built in the 8th and 9th centuries by the Sailendra dynasty, Borobudur is not a temple you enter. It is a temple you experience by moving through it. From a distance, Borobudur appears as a massive stone pyramid. Up close, it reveals a carefully planned structure of 9 stacked platforms, 6 square levels topped by 3 circular terraces, forming a 3-dimensional map of the Buddhist universe. The monument was built from over 2 million volcanic stone blocks, fitted together without mortar. Instead, builders used precise interlocking joints, creating a structure strong enough to survive earthquakes and centuries of monsoon rains. As visitors walk clockwise around each level, they follow a ritual path, guided by more than 2,600 carved relief panels, one of the largest narrative sculpture programs in the world. These panels tell stories of the Buddha's life, moral law, and the journey toward enlightenment. Above them rise 72 perforated stupas, each containing a seated Buddha statue, surrounding a central stupa that represents ultimate spiritual release. The monument is also an engineering achievement. Hidden drainage systems channel tropical rainfall away from the structure, preventing erosion. Without them, Borobudur would not have survived its environment. More than 1,200 years later, Borobudur remains a masterpiece, designed not to be seen, but to be understood, step by step. In the city of Rome stands the Pantheon, a building that quietly defies nearly every rule of ancient construction. Completed around 126 CE during the reign of Emperor Hadrian, the Pantheon was designed not to impress through height or decoration, but through pure engineering mastery. Its defining feature is the dome. With a diameter of 43 meters or 141 feet, the Pantheon remains the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world, nearly 2,000 years after it was built. No steel, no rebar, no modern reinforcement. Roman engineers achieved this by using a revolutionary understanding of materials. The concrete at the base of the dome is heavy and dense, while higher layers gradually become lighter, incorporating volcanic pumice. This careful variation reduces weight without sacrificing strength. At the center of the dome is the oculus, a 9-meter-wide opening that serves multiple purposes. It provides light, reduces structural stress, and connects the interior to the sky. Rain falls through it and drains away through hidden channels in the floor. The Pantheon is not just a monument of ancient Rome. It is proof that engineering, when pushed to its limits, can become timeless. Rising from the Giza plateau stands the Great Pyramid, the oldest and most complex of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Built around 2560 BCE during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, it remained the tallest man-made structure on Earth for nearly 4,000 years. But its true achievement is not height, it is precision. The Great Pyramid is composed of approximately 2.3 million stone blocks, many weighing several tons, some over 50 tons. These blocks were quarried, transported and assembled using only human labor, copper tools and stone instruments. Yet the pyramid is aligned to true north with an error of just a few arc minutes, accuracy comparable to modern surveying. Its base is nearly perfectly level, varying by only a few centimeters across its entire footprint. The pyramid contains a network of passages and chambers, including the Grand Gallery, a soaring corbelled corridor unlike anything else in ancient architecture. Above the king's chamber, a series of pressure-relieving chambers redistributes weight, preventing collapse under millions of tons of stone. The internal shafts, once thought to be ventilation channels, align with specific stars, reflecting the ancient Egyptian belief in the afterlife and the cosmos. More than 4,500 years later, the Great Pyramid still stands, its methods not fully understood. High in the Andes Mountains of Peru, nearly 2,500 meters above sea level, lies Machu Picchu, one of the most sophisticated construction projects of the ancient world. Built in the 15th century by the Inca Empire, Machu Picchu was constructed without iron tools, wheeled transport, or written plans, yet it remains structurally sound centuries later. It sits on a narrow mountain ridge surrounded by steep slopes and active seismic faults. Instead of leveling the land, Inca engineers shaped the city to the mountain itself, creating a harmonious balance between architecture and landscape. Stonework at Machu Picchu is among the finest ever achieved. Massive granite blocks were cut, shaped and fitted together so precisely that no mortar was needed. The tight joints allow buildings to move slightly during earthquakes, preventing collapse. But Machu Picchu's true complexity lies beneath the surface. Over 60% of the site is invisible, hidden in foundations, drainage systems and terraces. Hundreds of channels and stone-lined drains manage rainfall, preventing landslides and erosion during intense mountain storms. The agricultural terraces stabilize the slopes while creating fertile land. Water from a mountain spring was channeled through a gravity-fed system, supplying fountains and residences across the site. It is a city designed to survive earthquakes, storms, and time itself, built not to dominate the mountain, but to become part of it.